If you search Canada immigration on Google, you'll get more than 600 million results in less than half a second. And for the term US immigration, the number is over 2 billion. Canada has been lately leading the pack of countries trying to invite international talent from all around the world. With its many immigration policies like foreign skilled worker, Canadian experienced class, and its extensive immigration targets, it's also becoming the number one choice to immigrate to for people specifically from India and China. My co host Mugdha recently completed 1 year since immigrating to Canada on her own, leaving behind her family and a secure job. I interviewed her to hear about her experience so far and what suggestions she might have for anyone thinking of immigrating to Canada. I am Ankur, and you're listening to the News Park. Hey Mugdha, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good as well. So, I think about last week ago, we were discussing about how you completed 1 year in Canada, right?
Yeah, right.
And when I chatted with you, I was thinking about we should have this episode around how you decided to move to Canada and how it has been uh, in the past year for you to, experience a new country and what differences are you seeing compared to India. And I'm pretty sure that our listeners are going to enjoy that.
Yeah, I mean, I still can't believe that it's been 1 year.
Hmm. Cool. I actually prepared a set of questions for you. And if you're okay with it, I just want to jump into it and start shooting questions at you.
Okay, perfect. Let's go.
All right. So, obviously, the first question that comes to my mind is what motivated you to immigrate to Canada and how did you go about making that decisions? Because I know that if someone decides to move to another country, there are like, first of all, multiple countries they consider. And nowadays, it's Canada, US, UK, Germany, Australia. There are n number of options.
Right.
So, why Canada?
Well, for me, like, I was actually looking for study routes. Like, I was searching, I wanted to do higher education, especially master's in law. And therefore, I was looking for universities in the UK. That's
Hmm.
when a friend of mine told me that, why are you going for a master's in law? I mean, why not straight away, work in a new country? That might be exciting for you. So that's how I thought about, Canada as a new option for me.
Well, that's nice. So, can you tell me about the process you went through to apply for immigration to Canada, and what were some of the challenges you faced during the application process?
Well, it was, I guess, the like most popular system, the express entry, that I applied in for.
Mhm.
And it was challenging for sure because I am one of the persons, who were caught in this slow process because of the pandemic and the files weren't moving.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just patiently waiting for the results of my application. So yes, it was very challenging.
Right, but finally you made it here, and it's been already a
Absolutely.
year, right?
So
Right.
relieved, yeah.
Yeah. So, and what was your initial experience when you first arrived in Canada, and what were some of the biggest adjustments, so to say, you had to make?
Um, I always tried to be strong, but I was like, I always feared, that I'm in a new country and everything's new. But surprisingly, everybody around me was super friendly. Like, people come on their own to talk to me, whether I'm in the elevators or anywhere, like strangers come and approach me. So that was a very positive experience.
Mm-hmm.
And well, about the adjustments, I feel like I had to adjust to the system. The Canadian system is so different, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dad, no, it says don't walk.
Doesn't matter. They have free healthcare. Whoa, I'm rich.
I had to adjust to all the rules, regulations here. So yeah, that took some time for me.
Okay, fair enough. And how did you go about building a new life in Canada, including finding a new job? And when you landed here, of course, you needed a place to stay. And as far as I know, you didn't had many connections. So how did you figure that out?
Well, yeah, what you said is true because like all my friends, who went um to Canada, they got settled in Ontario or, just they were so distant from me. So it was
And
hard
you're in
initially.
Vancouver, right?
I am, yeah. So I always wanted to come to Vancouver, and I guess that's not the option for majority here. Because everybody just, went to Ontario. They wanted to settle in Toronto because apparently there are more jobs there.
So, you guys doing anything fun while you're in town?
Fun. In Toronto.
But luckily I had my cousin with me, so he's been my greatest help actually. So yeah, so that was like very positive, like to have somebody from your own family, here. So he just helped me out in everything.
Got it. And what about your job? Like, how did you get a new job here?
Well, I in that also like my cousin quite helped me a lot. Like he told me like how you go about applying. But then I guess the biggest help also came from the free resources the government has here for newcomers. So there are like centers where you can go. You can show them your resume, and they would just maybe prepare you for the interviews for like for the Canadian interviews. So basically, they have a bundle of resources to help newcomers.
Got it.
So,
You
yeah.
specifically mentioned, Mugdha, the Canadian interviews. So you had work experience in India. How difficult for you specifically was it to find a new job here? Because given that you have work experience in India, was it of any use here?
Absolutely, it was because so our jobs, like especially for lawyers, we've had a very rigorous lifestyle in India. So we are like really grilled in terms of everything. So I guess that helped me out somehow. And having a legal background, having work experience actually helped me a lot because, my interviewers were actually asked me questions about my Indian work experience. And I thought they're not going to ask those questions, because it's not valid here or something. But they did ask me questions about that. They also asked me questions like, how do you feel like Canadian and Indian law are different or how are they like? So, yes, it did help me a lot.
Got it. Did you face any barriers or challenges related to language, cultural differences, or if I may say, discrimination when you arrived in Canada? And if yes, how did you overcome these challenges?
What do you think? Because to me, like it was very different, I thought it's gonna be hard to adjust, but surprisingly, every third person is from a different country here. So I never like my neighbors are from Philippines, my coworkers are from Ukraine, somebody's American, so it was never challenging. And I, when I like it's always been so inviting, so welcoming. And that I speak a second language, or actually a third language, right? So yeah, so since I speak French as well, so it's really easy. Whenever I'm going to a government office, they're bilingual, so I can interact in both languages. So yeah, very easy.
If it's Canada, just say the word. And then say it again in French.
So specifically for you, and apart from being, bilingual or knowing French, I know for a fact that you've traveled extensively. So you know how to, conduct yourself when you're in a different situation or a different country. So that also, I think, played a positive part in that. If I'm right?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, traveling does help, because you get to know that, how people can be different in their own ways and how, their own set of cultures and how do you have to respect them, follow them. And, like I always think before speaking. So I feel like, given that thought process, it just helps you out to know the other person, to judge the situation. So yeah, that does help for sure.
Got it. But your traveling and everything, which helped a lot. But of course, this was the first time that you were actually moving to settle down somewhere else.
Yes, unlike you, yes.
Yeah. So, but to that decision, how did your family and community back home react to that? So, and how have your relationship with them changed since then?
Well, my family was really supportive in my decision. My grandmother was a bit emotional. My parents were strong, yes. And we always thought, that I'm gonna be like busy in my life, so we wouldn't have time to talk, stay connected. But I feel that our conversations have increased since then, since
Okay.
we cannot see each other, so we just tend to talk more over calls or video calls or audio calls. Yeah, so it's just increased. And that's so surprising, right?
Right, exactly. But the fact remains, Mugdha, that they are not physically here, right? You need to build your own circle here. So that must have been a little challenging, or it was easy for you.
Absolutely. I think you know better because you've been here like, since years, like, and you know how it feels to be away from family, right?
Right.
So for me, yes, sometimes I feel like I cannot see them, I cannot touch them, I cannot hug my mother,
Hmm.
so those are some aspects that I really miss.
Hmm.
And I don't know if they're, like tell them over call that, Mama, go have that dessert that you really like, which you used to eat with me. And she says, yes, I'll go tomorrow. But I don't know if she's gonna go, enjoy that. So these are
Right.
some of small things, that I miss, not being with them.
But yeah, I agree. But having said that, nowadays, people are anyway living away from their families, even if they are in the same country, right? So, uh, being away from them, whether you're in the same country or a different country, it's hardly any different now because you can get a flight
Yeah.
the next day and then meet them, right? So, uh,
It has become so easy, yeah.
exactly. All right. Interesting. So, coming back to the next question that we had, what are some of the positive and negative aspects of your immigration experience in Canada, and how do you feel about your decision to move here?
I feel that the immigration journey is quite unpredictable. You never know you're gonna when are you gonna end the process, or is it just gonna be a year more? So it's just like really time consuming, and you don't have any results in front of you. So I'll say that the process is tiring for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And especially for the ones, whose files were just stuck because of COVID, for them, it was like really depressing. And I was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at the end, when I'm here, I've started my life, everything is, back to normal. I feel it's really, really positive and exciting, and I'm super happy that I made this decision.
That's nice. So, what advice would you give to someone who is considering immigrating to Canada, and based on your experience, of course?
Yeah, I'll say obviously don't give up, because I see many people, they're like writing that, should I just, move on with my job, find an alternate option. So I'll say don't give up. If it's your dream, just try to, pursue it, do not go for any backup options and be patient. That's very important.
That's true. That's 100% true. So,
Yeah.
Mugdha, how has your immigration experience in Canada shaped your identity and sense of belonging, both in Canada and in your country of origin?
You'll find this answer strange, but I feel more Indian in Canada.
Okay.
In India, you kind of want to be more westernized, but when you're here, you just feel proud to be Indian, and you feel happy when you're meeting other Indians.
Mhm.
I guess even though Canada is so multicultural, you kind of uh, fall in love with your own identity, with your own nationality. This is a great quality about Canada, that everybody is welcome, right?
Leadership is about bringing people of all different perspectives together.
Mhm.
Um, and I never have to think twice, in talking to someone, if I can share these things or not, because everybody is new and everybody is friendly. So I feel more mixed with everyone.
Mhm. Interesting. So, Mugdha, you touched on the topic of Canada being multicultural. So, how has your immigration experience in Canada affected your relationships with people from different cultures and backgrounds? And how have you navigated issues of diversity and inclusion?
Every third person, especially in British Columbia, is from a different country, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like instead of hiding your identities, it's really good when you like open up and you talk about, each other's cultures, religions. I feel nobody is like, hiding away or something.
Mm-hmm.
So people openly discuss that, I'm from this country and these are my beliefs. This is what, my family have been, these are the traditions in my family. We openly discuss about these things, even at a workplace. But we don't let it hamper our work, our goals in life. If you're in a group setting, for example, if I see like two Chinese girls at my coworkers talking together, and when I'm coming, they wouldn't talk in Chinese, they would talk in English, because they want to want me to have a
Include you.
sense of belonging. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
include me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's very natural here, that comes like naturally, and you kind of feel a family, you feel Canadian. Then that's what I believe.
Right. Interesting. Okay. And how has your immigration experience impacted your career or professional goals here?
Well, very exciting, because
Mm-hmm.
I have been practicing as a lawyer in commercial law, real estate law, and here I get to try a new venture, that's sports and entertainment law.
Mm-hmm.
Because Canadians, do you like the Nuts? Do you watch ice
Of
hockey or?
course. Of course.
Absolutely right. So everybody is like such a sport enthusiast here. So obviously, so there are like laws for sports industry, for the entertainment industry, because Vancouver is like the arts and entertainment industry.
Yeah, it's called
Uh,
North Hollywood.
Absolutely, yes. And for that, you need strong laws, and that's what I'm working in. So that's a new venture. Very excited to work here.
Nice. So you actually feel that your horizons have expanded since moving to Canada, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Mhm.
Interesting. So, and have you been involved in any of the community groups or organizations since arriving in Canada? And how has that experience been?
Well, yeah, like I've always been a social butterfly, so I wanted a friend circle, So I actually, when I came here, I did search for some language groups, like French circles, So there's like a meet and greet system here. So you kind of, choose a restaurant, and everybody, like there are like 20 or 30 people meeting together over coffee and donuts, and just having
Mm-hmm.
conversations in French. So that's amazing.
My friend in Canada who got married way too young, they had to do their vows twice, once in French.
Canada is so beautiful. So there are like, groups for nature lovers. So we all
Mm-hmm.
go together in groups of 30 or more, and, we take a stroll together and just, talk about, the mountains, the oceans, the lakes, and
That's
just make friends.
Yeah. For a fact, I know that people say that Vancouver is the least friendliest city in Canada. And
Oh,
that is coming from people from like Toronto, Calgary, Edmonton, Montreal. So, but from your answer, I feel like you don't think that's true. Is that
well,
correct?
I don't think that's true, but I understand your perspective too. And I have heard that too.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel that in some way that's right, because everybody here is at has left their family, so they're
Mm-hmm.
kind of lonely. So people are shy sometimes, in interacting, in talking to everyone's
You
not
have to
like
make an
me.
effort, right? So if you make an effort, probably you'll get more results.
Yeah, absolutely. Like if you make an effort, then you'll always get nicer replies. People
Mhm.
would really be happy that, oh, somebody's asking me a question, so they would love to reply.
Got it. And can you speak to any cultural differences you have noticed between your home country and Canada?
Yes. Oh, this country works in appointments. Wherever you have to go, you have to book an appointment. Otherwise, be ready to stand in a long line, which can, be for an hour or so.
Mhm.
So I think it's more systematic for sure. What
Right.
do you feel in this?
I mean, that's absolutely true. I mean, luckily, I've learned my lessons years ago. So wherever I go, I always make an appointment, and I reach on time because I've observed that people here are they respect you if you respect their time to
Absolutely, yeah.
right. So you
True,
should do
that's
it.
true. Yeah.
Yes,
And
I
another
agree with that.
and another big difference I found is like there's a lot of small talk here, right? And
Oh yeah.
initially when I came here, it was hard for me because like in India, we just keep to our business. We do not interfere. Just it's like two strangers never talk to each other. But here, so much of small talk. Like you have to
Right.
interact every time. So
Correct.
I've kind of started liking it.
Yeah, and just for a fact, the small talk that you mentioned, it's mostly in Canada and US. If you go to European countries or any other part of the
Hmm.
world, I don't think so that's there. But it's heavily focused, if I may say so, in Canada and US.
Absolutely, yeah, I feel so too. Other countries I feel like more shy.
Mhm.
Americans, Canadians, they're like, they love to be, surrounded by people, love to talk. Yeah, that's true.
Cool. So Mugdha, have you visited your home country, India, since immigrating to Canada, and how did it feel to return after being away for a period of time?
Yes, I did. Yeah, to attend a family wedding, and the experience been really nice. I was actually missing my family, and especially my grandmother. I used to talk to her, and she used to always say, "I'm really missing you, and I really want you to be here." So that was a really, really special moment for me.
Mhm.
And of course, the food, Indian food. How can you not miss that?
Right.
So yes, you must be missing Indian food too, right?
Yeah, but you know what? Indian food or in any other cuisine, it's available in US and Canada everywhere now. So you don't have to actually think about it if you like Indian, Italian,
Yeah,
Malaysian,
Canada
every
has
kind of
ample options.
right.
Absolutely. That's true.
Correct. So since we are on the topic of food, are there any particular Canadian foods or customs or experiences that you have grown to love since arriving?
Well, have you tried poutine here?
Yes, I did.
Canadian
I mean, I'm
poutine?
vegetarian, but yes, I have tried the vegetarian version.
I always read about it and it was like so weird that, Canadians put some gravy over the fries and they enjoy that. I was like, how can that be delicious? But that's
Mhm.
the first thing I tried here and I super liked it. And
That's
then
nice.
the pineapple pizza. So the Hawaiian pizza actually is Canadian. I never knew that.
Hmm.
And it's basically pineapple on the pizza, which I thought is a weird combination, but I like it so much. So, so
Well,
yeah,
you do know that that's a very controversial topic because most of the people will disagree with the fact that how can
yes,
you put a fruit on a pizza? But you know what? Let's leave that for another day because we might have a long discussion about that.
yeah.
All right. So, looking back at your immigration experience, is there anything you wish you had done differently, or any advice you would give to yourself if you could go back in time?
I would I'll tell myself that Mugdha, it's okay if it's taking time. It's the pandemic, everybody is facing the same situation. Uh, stay calm, be patient. But I don't think so. Anything would have been different because that period actually was really depressing for all of us because I was in a very decent job and I was in a situation where I didn't know my future, whether I have to continue here or or should I be looking for opportunities in Canada. So I don't think, given all the circumstances happening around me and in the world, I felt I couldn't have changed anything.
Okay. So, can you talk about any support networks or resources you found helpful during your immigration process or when settling into life in Canada?
Oh, yes, absolutely. So, for any newcomer, I'll advise, first of all, visit your public library. It is so useful. It's not just a place for books. I mean, you can find a lot of job opportunities there, actually. And there's like tons of seminars going around, how you can improve your language skills or how you can get more technical skills. Or how to clear interviews, a lot of those kind of things, and then social circle groups. So that's really helpful. And then there's always like I talked about it earlier as well, that like there are groups for newcomers about their career help. So if you don't
Mhm.
know how to go ahead in your career, then you can go there. They're going to guide you everything. They'll provide all the help, and in fact they assign a professional person to each client. So
Mhm.
they're going to study your profile, see your background, and also find jobs for you. So utilize those skills, utilize the help that government has for you, for sure.
Interesting. Can you speak to any challenges you have faced in adjusting to Canadian weather, especially if you come from a warmer climate?
Well, because everywhere when I was in India, or any person coming to Canada, they hear that there's just one con about Canada, that it's too cold,
Right.
it's white. So I had that image in mind that Canada's like white, filled with snow.
My good friend Ned would build an igloo from polar bears and flying hockey pucks.
Surprisingly, when I came here, it was sunny.
Mhm.
So, yeah, I mean, there's direct sunlight you get, and sometimes you sweat also, during peak
Right.
summers. So I never imagined that. So I love Vancouver's weather. I mean, you do too, right?
Right, exactly. Right. I mean, of course, you live on the West Coast, so I think people who are living on the East Coast might have some different answer to that
Yeah,
question.
yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So, and have you taken advantage of any opportunities to travel and explore Canada since moving here?
A lot, yes. I just cannot sit home, and weekends here are like so fun. So I am always going out, exploring new sites. Within, explored like all the sites thrice by now. And I've also, developed a keen interest in ice skating and
Mhm.
lacrosse. So, so these are some of the new sports that I've tried as well. So, yeah, I feel like, my social butterfly thing is kicking in.
Got it. So now, Mugdha, I'm going to ask you a question which might be a little, if I may say so, a little uncomfortable
Mm-hmm.
to answer, but
Okay.
um, let's discuss that. So you moved to Canada, single, and as a girl, from that perspective, how difficult was it? Because I know that if you're a guy, things are different. You get more support, or you don't have to worry about the things that a girl would have to worry about. So, can you speak to that?
I'm happy you brought up this question because, yeah, it is difficult, because, back in your home country, you usually have, somebody to help you out. Like, there's my dad, like, if some documentation work is to be done, I'll take his help or my brother's help. Here, I knew that, I have to single-handedly manage everything. But then I feel like it all depends, how, if you've been um strong enough to cope with challenges. I was always strong enough. I knew that the situations are going to be challenging, and I'll have days which will not be as good as I was expecting. But
Hmm.
then it's just like you keep yourself strong. You know that it's Canada's a country of equality. You're never gonna face any discrimination like that. So I just stood strong, just focused on my work and never had to face any problem, So like even for like a single girl, it's very easy to settle in. People really help you out.
Hmm.
And yeah, just I mean focus on your work and yeah, you'll get the benefits.
Okay. And just so that our listeners know, we do not mean to say that, girls are lesser than boys or anything like that.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
coming from different cultures, it's sometimes, difficult or different for a girl or a guy to do the same thing. So that's why it's
Mhm.
important to bring up these things also, so that everyone is aware that what they can expect. But as you said, Canada does have, I mean, Canada is an egalitarian society, so everyone has equal opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
True.
So coming to the last question, Mugdha, having spent 1 year in Canada, how has it impacted your personal values or beliefs?
This journey, the Canadian immigration journey, has been quite challenging for me, but there have been a lot of people who have helped me, in this process. And in return, they've never expected anything from me. So what I
Hmm.
feel is some people who move here, they might have a feeling that Canada is inviting more and more people. It's becoming difficult for them to find jobs. But it shouldn't be the case. You should have an open mindset and be inviting, help others. If you have been helped at some point of time, it's your duty now, because you're in a privileged situation, you're a permanent resident, you have work rights here. So do help others, help not just your family, your cousins, but also strangers. Just spread the word, just make life comfortable for everyone. That's what I would suggest.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Mugdha, for discussing your experience. And I believe and I hope our listeners also enjoyed listening to that and they learned something. Thank you so much for your time, Mugdha.
Thank you.
Many people see immigrating to North America as an achievement. They see a better quality of life, more money, more opportunities, and a chance to achieve whatever they dream of. Although all that might be true to some extent, sometimes they fail to see how much you have to give up to achieve those things. Every person in the world deserves an equal opportunity to fulfill their dreams. But remember that behind every successful person is years of hard work, many sacrifices, and a ton of things that they ended up giving. Thank you for listening. See you next time.